December 19th, 2022 will please come to order. Good evening and welcome. We're glad to see so many faces here in the chambers with us. Folks, if you would, please take a moment to check your cell phone and make sure that you have place set on mute or silence, and we appreciate you doing that. And we are also happy to live stream our meeting again this evening, so good evening to those of you who are participating in that fashion. To that end, members of the public will be asked to place their microphone on mute during the meeting with the exception of any public hearing. At the appropriate point in the public hearing, I will invite the public to unmute their microphone for purposes of submitting such comments as they may wish to make, one person at a time. All persons wishing to make public comments will be asked to first state their name and address for the record, and after completing the comment, members of the public will once again be asked to place their microphone on mute. And we thank all of you for your cooperation this evening. At this point, if you would, please join us in rising for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. DeMade?
Here.
Mr. Hazen?
Here.
Mr. Mamalenti?
Here.
Mr. Benicki?
Here.
Mr. Emmons?
Here.
Mr. Belovich?
Here.
Mr. Compton?
Here.
Mrs. Volker?
Here.
Mr. Hixenbaugh?
Here. Approval of the minutes of our regular meeting of December 5th, 2022. Are there any additions or corrections? Then hearing none, the minutes will be approved as received from the clerk's office. Petitions, communications, remonstrance, and memorial.
We have the presentation of the ARPA awards.
Thank you. This evening, we are pleased to acknowledge a series of community groups who we have partnered with respect to our American Rescue Plan Act money. And at this point in time, I'm going to ask the chair of our subcommittee, our special committee rather, Matt Mammaletti, to go to the podium, and we'll welcome our recipients to the podium one at a time. You're certainly invited to make any comments that you wish to make as you receive your check. And then following that, we're going to ask if you want to make the long, arduous journey in front of us here at the dais, then we'd all like to shake your hand as well. So with that, in no particular order, let's begin with our friends from Trooptown.
Thank you. They don't trust me with it. Yes, thank you, everyone, council members. Since we've last spoke, there's been so much progress that we would love to share with you. If you've driven down Jefferson lately, all three of the structures between the VFW and Reggio's are down. We just have to clean up one of the basements. We're on track. We now have two general contractors that are volunteering their services. John Betcher's group has donated virtually everything to remove all of the structures. It's just been incredible. We've had so much progress. There's donations coming in left and right, financially and services. We are confident that in the spring we are going to begin construction. We've decided if we don't have the financial resources to build the entire 5 structures, meaning the 4 duplexes and the Welcome Center, we're going to build what finances allow, meaning 2 duplexes to house 4 guests, and the Welcome Center is just heartfelt, truly, and this will be leaps and bounds to jumpstart us right there where we need to be. So again, our heartfelt thanks. Truly, thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Well done.
You're more than welcome.
Pleasure. Yeah.
Oh, congratulations.
So awesome.
Your dream come true, huh? Yeah.
And next on the list is Youth Service Bureau.
Good evening. Christina McGovern and Jennifer Pickering with YSB. We just want to say thank you for the support. We're tremendously excited about the possibilities of this project. It's going to make a huge difference for young people in our community. We had our groundbreaking on a beautiful 70-degree day in November. Who would have thought? So it was exciting, and we're very much appreciative, and we'll keep you posted as we go along. Thank you.
Too bad. Well done.
You're welcome. Oh, sorry.
We're happy for you. Oh, of course. Happy for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up are our friends from Mishawaka Building Trades.
No, it's not. Well, at least it's, it's on Facebook, but that's us doing it.
Good evening, members of the council. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. Work is well underway, teaching our students and investing in our community. With your help and your guidance as we went through this, we're very, very, very appreciative of this gift and of this contribution and investment in our community and in our students. So thank you very much.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Great job. Congratulations.
You're welcome.
Glad you
Caught up in the season.
Yeah, I know if I saw where you put that
Literally,
check.
right? Great, thank you. Thank you. Good seeing you.
Yep, yep, thank you.
Congratulations.
Next is the Mishawaka Penn Harris Public Library.
We just want to say thank you. When Kate came into the library and said, this is happening, we were so excited. Thank you from the Library Board of Trustees as well for this. We haven't started anything yet, so there's no progress. I will say we have reached out as well for some county ARPA dollars to go toward this, but what this means for us, we've talked about this for years, and Jen's team is so excited, and I like what you said, the partnership. It truly takes a village, and so these literary initiatives for the elderly and the underserved, we are going to do this, and we will be bringing you progress reports as it goes, and we really do appreciate it. It's put some nice motivation into the library team on things that they can do now, and so we're closer to those. They're always planning something, but this makes it a real possibility, and we really are truly appreciative of that. Thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
You're more welcome. Congratulations.
That's all right.
It's a good time of year to do this. Congratulations. Thank you.
And then last but not least, our friends from the Res.
Thank you so much for your support. We're really excited to get started on some of our projects that really need to be done, and we are excited to partner with the Mishawaka Building Trades and the Marine Corps Reserve, and hopefully we will have a lot of these things in place within the next year or two. So thank you so much for your support.
So slow, but on the other hand, it's a nice way to cap the year off.
She's doing okay, yeah. Glad we could help.
That's an awesome celebration. Congratulations.
Merry Christmas.
Enjoy the holidays.
All right, before we move forward, are there any council members who would like to speak? Mr. Compton?
Yes, I couldn't think really, first of all, I want to thank everyone for the work that you're doing. I know you're thanking us but we have the easy part. We set up some meetings, we did some interviews, had to navigate how, all the responsibilities we have with this money. But that's the easy part. The hard part is what you all are going to do. And I couldn't think of a better meeting. I know it's been a while, and I would have liked to have done this sooner, but it does take a while to navigate this. That said, I couldn't think of a better meeting than the meeting before Christmas to do this. So appropriately, it worked out well. I've been doing this for coming up on my 17th year, city council. It's hard to believe. We very rarely get these opportunities to do these kinds of things. And I'm very pleased, very proud to be part of it. When you do government work, or for me, when I did this, I just want to make a little bit of a difference and serve your community. What you folks are going to do with this money is going to make a difference long into the future. And that's a wonderful thing. Besides you, besides this council for doing what they did, this money came from our federal government. So I'd like to thank our legislators who supported this, our president who pushed this through, for moving this American Recovery Act forward, or this wouldn't have been possible. So thank you to everyone. Thank you to my fellow councilmen who worked hard on this. Good luck. We'll be following up, as you know. We don't want to be burdensome, but part of our responsibility is to make sure the money goes where we said it would go. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Mamalenti?
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Compton, for very well stating all that was involved in those recipients that do such an amazing work. First and foremost, I want to thank Mayor Wood for bringing this to our attention, allow us to get creative and get back to some organizations that make a strong impact within our community, and particularly our youth. I want to thank the committee members, Kate Volker, Mike Compton, President Hickson-Ball, and for the rest of the council as well. For some of the folks that aren't on here presently and aren't online, this was a long time coming. A lot of meetings, a lot of reviewing applications, hearing presentations, and I can assure you that the entire council and the committee took this very seriously, and I think we nailed it, and I think you guys are going to make an impact immediately and for years to come. So thank you all that were involved. I look forward to seeing the progress and seeing the effects within the community. Thank you.
Mrs. Volker?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm not going to take any time except to say how much I'm excited to see what y'all are going to do. And as Mr. Compton said, now the work begins. But that's the fun part for you, and we're looking forward to coming out to see what y'all come up with. And I love the collaboration between the Res and Mishawaka Building Trades. But anyway, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Any other comments from the council? Then let me add one final thanks. Another important player in this process and a source of good information for us throughout was our controller, Rebecca McGuire, who spent more hours than she'd like to remember on webinars with our financial consultants and putting together information for us and really digging into the intricacies of what was supposed to be a simple yet complicated matter. Go figure, when the federal government sends you money, there is always a level of complexity. But Becky did a great job of being of assistance to us, and I appreciate not only her spirit of collaboration, but Mayor Wood and the entire administration. This was an unusual, unprecedented venture for us, but we were able to work through it with the guidance and the assistance of the administration, with the good work that was done by the other members of the special committee, Mr. Mamalenti, Mr. Compton, and Mrs. Volker, and the entire council. So we look forward to hearing from the recipients about the progress as they move forward. We're confident that what you do will have a positive impact on this community that will go beyond all of our times in office, maybe all of our times on the face of this earth. But we appreciate what you do and look forward to the good work that you'll continue to do in the community. So thank you. With that said, my sense of it is that some of you have other duties and responsibilities, and although you are big fans of local government, you may want to take this opportunity to be able to slide out. Our friends from the library really led the charge as they got to the back of the room and stood by the door. But that's just an indicator of their intelligence. So we'll take your... Thank you, folks. All right, with that, Madam Clerk, let's resume with the agenda.
Petition number 2022-20 to the honorable members of the Common Council, City of Mishawaka, Indiana. It's a petition for a PUD amendment to allow second restaurant with drive-through, automobile use, and reduced parking south of 3615 Freeman Highway. This is signed by Ann Witkowski and Mark Kasanovich. Petition number 2022-21 to the honorable members of the Common Council, City of Mishawaka, Indiana. This is a PUD amendment to increase building height to 65 foot northwest corner of Cleveland Road, State Road 23, and Gumwood Road. This is signed by Ryan Rands.
Thank you. This evening, we have no report of any special committee, so let's move into ordinances on first reading.
Proposed ordinance number 2022-49, an ordinance amending Chapter 137 of the Municipal Code of the City of Mishawaka, Indiana, is from time to time amended, commonly known as the zoning ordinance of 1966 of the City of Mishawaka, Indiana. This is a PUD amendment to allow second restaurant with drive-through, automobile use, reduced parking south of 3615 Bremen Highway.
Proposed ordinance number 2022-49 will be assigned to the Land Use Planning Committee.
Proposed ordinance number 2022-50, an ordinance amending Chapter 137 of the Municipal Code of the City of Mishawaka, Indiana, is from time to time amended, commonly known as the zoning ordinance of 1966 of the City of Mishawaka, Indiana. This is PUD amendment to increase building height to 65 foot northwest corner of Cleveland Road, State Road 23, and Gumwood Road.
Proposed ordinance 2022-50 will also be assigned to the Land Use Planning Committee. This evening, we also have no resolutions, so we'll move into ordinances on second reading.
Proposed ordinance number 2022-42, an ordinance amending ordinance 5763 as amended, fixing the salaries of all employees of the City of Mishawaka, except the Mishawaka Park Department, elected officials, and the Mishawaka Utilities for the City of Mishawaka, Indiana, for the year beginning January 1st, 2022. This is salaries for central services certification pay.
Thank you. May we have the committee report, please?
Yes, Mr. President. To the members of the Common Council of the City of Mishawaka, your Committee on Budget and Finance, to whom was referred the matter of proposed ordinance number 2022-42, report that they have examined said matter and that, in their opinion, it should be presented to the council as a whole. This is signed by the entire committee, and I move for its acceptance.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the committee report. Any additional questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We will now move into second reading and public hearing on proposed ordinance 2022-42. Anyone wishing to speak in favor, please come forward.
Good evening, City Controller Rebecca McGuire. I'm here to present ordinance 2022-42. This is just an amendment to include our central services and the street department certifications that were approved during negotiations for this year's salary ordinance. This includes tanker certification, CDL A and B, and a CDL instructor stipend. The CDL instructor stipend is important because federal regulations have changed, and with the requirements, it's cheaper to train the trainer and have an instructor in-house because it costs anywhere between $5,000 to $7,500 to send an employee out for this training. So we have two instructors right now that are doing the instructing. So this is an incentive for them along with these other certifications.
Thank you. Any questions for the controller? Thank you, Becky.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else physically present who wishes to speak in favor of the proposed ordinance? Please come forward. Then is there anyone participating remotely who wishes to speak in favor? Is there anyone present who wishes to speak in opposition? Please come forward. And is there anyone participating remotely who wishes to speak in opposition? Are there any council members who wish to speak? Hearing none, then I call for the question.
Question?
Madam Clerk, would you please poll the council?
Mrs. DeMade?
Yes.
Mr. Hazen?
Yes.
Mr. Mamalenti?
Yes.
Mr. Beninky?
Yes.
Mr. Emmons?
Yes.
Mr. Belovich?
Yes.
Mr. Compton?
Yes.
Mrs. Volker?
Yes.
Mr. Hixenbaugh?
Yes.
The proposed ordinance passes 9-0. Proposed ordinance number 2022-43, an ordinance amending ordinance 5811, fixing the salaries of all employees of the city of Mishawaka except Mishawaka Park Department, elected officials, and the Mishawaka Utilities for the city of Mishawaka, Indiana for the year beginning January 1st, 2023. This is for senior purchasing agent and central services certification pay.
Thank you. May we have the committee report, please?
Yes, Mr. President. To the members of the Common Council of the City of Mishawaka, your Committee on Budget and Finance, to whom was referred the matter of proposed ordinance number 2022-43, report that they have examined said matter and that in their opinion it should be presented to the council as a whole. This is signed by the entire committee, and I move for its acceptance.
Second.
A motion has been made and seconded to approve the committee report. Any additional questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This is the second reading of public hearing on proposed ordinance 2022-43. Anyone wishing to speak in favor, come forward.
Good evening again. This is for amending the 2023 salary ordinance. We are adding the central services and MVH certification, as I mentioned previously, and just correcting the purchasing manager's name. We're having the title, instead of purchasing manager, it's going to be senior purchasing agent. The salary does not change. It was just a correction of the title.
Thank you. Any questions for the clerk, the controller?
Don't ask me.
Thank you, Becky. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in favor of the proposed ordinance? Please come forward. Is there anyone participating remotely who wishes to speak in favor? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Please come forward. And is there anyone participating remotely who wishes to speak in opposition? Are there any council members who wish to speak? If not, then I call for the question. Madam Clerk, would you please poll the council?
Mrs. DeMade?
Yes.
Mr. Hazen?
Yes.
Mr. Mamalenti?
Yes.
Mr. Beninky?
Yes.
Mr. Emmons?
Yes.
Mr. Belovich?
Yes.
Mr. Compton?
Yes.
Mrs. Volker?
Yes.
Mr. Hixenbaugh?
Yes.
Proposed ordinance passes 9-0. Proposed ordinance number 2022-44, an ordinance amending ordinance 5812, fixing the salaries of all sworn public safety employees for the city of Mishawaka, Indiana, for the year beginning January 1st, 2023, and continuing for 2 years.
Thank you. May we have the committee report, please?
Yes, Mr. President. To the members of the Common Council of the City of Mishawaka, your Committee on Budget and Finance, to whom was referred the matter of proposed ordinance number 2022-44, report that they have examined said matter and that their opinion, it should be presented to the council as a whole. This is signed by the entire committee, and I move for acceptance.
Second.
Thank you. A motion has been made and seconded to approve the committee report. Any additional questions or comments from the council? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. In light of the fact that this evening, late in the day, the Mishawaka FOP also approved an agreement with the city of Mishawaka that has financial terms that would be appropriate for incorporation within this proposed ordinance. At this point in time, the chair would entertain a motion to delete the proposed ordinance in its entirety and substitute in an amended ordinance that was prepared by the controller and provided to us by the clerk's office this evening.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. A motion has been made and seconded to delete the proposed ordinance in its entirety and substitute in an amended ordinance as prepared by the controller and distributed to the council by the clerk. Any additional questions or comments from the council? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion to amend the ordinance signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. We will then move into second reading and public hearing on proposed ordinance 2022-44 as further amended this evening. Anyone wishing to speak in favor, if you would, come forward to the podium.
Good evening again. I appreciate your willingness to amend. It makes much easier on payroll at the beginning of the year. This year, we had a collaboration between the union, the city administration, and the council negotiation committee. In speaking for the mayor, he wanted to relay his message that he appreciates all the work that everyone has done and the time spent, and he feels that it's was very successful. And to highlight the 2023 and 2024 salary ordinance for fire, there wasn't a contract negotiation, it was just a wage opener. There was small adjustments made between the ranks, and then 5% is added for 2023 and then 2024. For police, this was included a contract negotiation that will be brought before the council at a later time, but for the wage ordinance, there's 7% increase for 2023, 5% for 2024. It also includes a $2,500 annual stipend for residency, and extra duty stipends have also been added.
Thank you. Any questions for the controller? Thank you, Becky, and thank you for your work on both
you,
of these negotiated items as well.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in favor of the proposed ordinance as amended? If you would, please come forward.
Members of the council, on behalf of the police department, the FOP 91 did accept the wage and contract proposals for the agreement. Hopefully it can bring us in some more officers and make us attractive. I do want to thank, though, through the process, members of the council, especially Mr. Hazen, Mr. Mammaleni, Mr. Hicksonbaugh, Mr. Compton, also Pat Hinkle and Becky McGuire for all their help sorting everything out. It was a learning experience for myself, being that it was my first.
Chief, although we know you, for those who don't.
Oh,
could
I'm
you state
sorry,
your
Craig
name for the
Nowacki,
record?
Assistant Chief of the Mishawaka Police Department, 100 Lincoln Way West.
Thank you. Any questions for Chief Nowacki? And Chief, thank you for your work on this, as well as Chief Witkowski and Chief Arna as well. We appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in favor of the proposed ordinance? If you would, please come forward. Then is there anyone participating remotely who wishes to speak in favor? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition to the proposed ordinance? Please come forward. And is there anyone participating remotely who wishes to speak in opposition? Are there any council members who wish to speak? Mr. Compton.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to echo on what Chief Nowacki kind of said there, and I think I'd start out by thanking the mayor for pursuing a suggestion we had been talking about for a couple of years, really, and that was to combine our negotiation teams with the council and the mayor's staff. It just made sense. It was a little bit, it's a little bit of a change, so of course there's question and involved, but I think it went very well. I think that we were able to give the police a raise bigger than maybe they anticipated, maybe not as much as they wanted, but anticipated. But at the same time, we were able to get some language changes that we hope will add the ability to put more people on the street. That was one of our big goals, is to accomplish that. We think we did. We'll have to wait and see. The proof will be in the pudding. But I too want to thank all the players involved, from the mayor's staff, the FOP, and the council group that was there. Well done. It was a little tensious at times, but that's contract negotiations. That's the way they are. If they're not any fun. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Compton. Mr. Mamalenti.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to go on record and say, glad that's over with. But no, in all seriousness, I want to thank, of course, the mayor, Becky, all the assistant chiefs, Pat Hinkle for attending what seemed to be a record amount of meetings that we held. Special thanks to President Hickson-Ball, Chairman Compton, Member Hazen, for all their countless time and effort in attending all these meetings. So I think overall we were able to make both sides happy, and I think that the city wins overall. Hopefully we can get more manpower on the streets with this package, and just looking forward to going through till next year, or this one's 2 years, so a couple years. So thank you all for involved, for your efforts. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Other questions or comments from the council?
I would just say thank you, like everyone else said, that everybody in there did the best job they could do for the policemen, the citizens of Mishawaka, and the city, and it worked out really good. I hope we can continue with this. And in the past, it hasn't been done this way because state statute says we take care of the finances, the administration takes care of the working conditions. We combined together, and it worked out really good, I feel, for the whole city. And I hope we can continue doing that in the future.
Thank you. Other comments from the council? Mrs. Volker.
I'm sorry. I just want to say thank you to the negotiating committee. I attended one meeting, and I know that it was a lot of effort on everybody's part in many, many meetings. So as a fellow council member, I want to thank you for taking the lead on it, and, Becky and Pat and everybody that was involved. It's a lot of work, just from my observation. Did a great job.
Thank you. Other comments? Then let me conclude by echoing the expressions of appreciation that have been articulated by my colleagues. I appreciate the work that all of them did throughout this process. I appreciate the collaboration and the camaraderie between the council and the administration. I think this has established the template for a working relationship between ourselves moving forward that's in the best interest of the community, and I echo the thought that, and also hope that this continues. I appreciate the work that was done on behalf of both unions. and the leadership of both departments. We haven't mentioned Chief Woodward, but he was instrumental in the negotiations with the fire department, so thank you to him as well. With regard to the police component of this ordinance as well, I think it's important to state for the record that this is a historic raise for police officers in Mishawaka. For those of us who have been involved in this process for longer than we care to remember sometimes, right, Chief Hazen? Yes. This is the largest raise that anybody is aware of for any employee group within the city, let alone our police officers. Many people know that we live in a different competitive environment with regard to our police officers and other employee groups at this point in time. And I think we as a council have heard consistently from the community that there's a desire to make sure that we have the best equipped, best trained, and best qualified officers working every day in the city of Mishawaka, and that we have the maximum number of officers that we need to have on the street in order to be able to provide public safety throughout the community. I think it's safe to say that we believe that this is a step in the right direction in terms of being able to accomplish those goals. And as we move into the second step of the process which will be the approval of the collective bargaining language that is a companion piece to this, we have set the stage with what we've agreed to here, not only to pass a historic economic proposal, but to put in place what we hope will be the pathway to more officers on the street on a daily basis to take care of those issues that all of us who reside within the community want to have addressed. So thank you again to all involved for the work that they did on this. And to echo Mr. Mammaletti, I'm not upset that it's a 2-year deal with both units so that we can focus on some other issues and plan for the future in terms of how we continue to work together with them moving forward. So thank you again to everybody involved. With that, if there are no other questions or comments from the council, then I will call for the question. Madam Clerk, would you please poll the council?
Mrs. DeMade?
Yes.
Mr. Hazen?
Yes.
Mr. Mammolenti?
Yes.
Mr. Benicki?
Yes.
Mr. Emmons?
Yes.
Mr. Belovich?
Yes.
Mr. Compton?
Yes.
Mrs. Volker?
Yes.
Mr. Hixenbaugh?
Yes.
The proposed ordinance as amended passes 9-0. Proposed ordinance number 2022-45, an ordinance transferring funds from the local road and bridge matching grant fund to the motor vehicle highway restricted fund of the city of Mishawaka for the calendar year ending December 31st, 2022, and an ordinance appropriating additional funds for the year ending December 31st, 2022. This is transfer from local road and street bridge matching grant fund to MVHR fund, $14,233.54, and additional appropriation for MVHR fund, $14,233.54.
Thank you. Due to a publication error, at this point in time, the chair would entertain a motion to postpone second reading and public hearing on not only proposed ordinance 2022-45, but on 2 additional ordinances that also reflect a request for additional appropriations. Those 2 ordinances being proposed ordinance 2022-46 and proposed ordinance 2022-47. More specifically, the chair would entertain a motion to postpone second reading and public hearing on those 3 ordinances until a special meeting that has been called for in conjunction with state law and our council rules for December 27th, 2022 at 5 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded to postpone second reading and public hearing on proposed ordinances 2022-45, 2022-46, and 2022-48 until a special council meeting that has been scheduled for December 27th at 5 p.m. here in our council chambers. Any additional questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All 3 ordinances will be postponed until the special meeting on December 27th at 5 p.m. Thank you.
Proposed ordinance number 2022-47, an ordinance declaring an emergency and transferring and reappropriating funds within the budget adopted for the calendar year ending December 31st, 2022. This is additional funds to various funds in the amount of $830,000.
Thank you. May we have the committee report, please?
No, that's not correct. That's not correct.
I'm sorry.
It's going to be 47.
Thank you. This is transferring and appropriating funds in the human resources in the amount of $17,885.
Now, may we have the committee report?
Now we got it right.
Thank you, Mr. President. To the members of the Common Council of the City of Mishawaka, your Committee on Budget and Finance, to whom was referred the matter of proposed ordinance number 2022-47, report that they have examined said matter and that in their opinion it should be presented to the council as a whole. This is signed by the entire committee, and I move for its acceptance.
So moved.
A motion has been made and seconded to approve the committee report. Any additional questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. We'll now move into second reading and public hearing on proposed ordinance 2022-47. Good evening again, Madam
Good
Controller.
evening. We have a need to transfer funds at the end of the year in our Human Resources Department. We hired outside temporary help to assist the Code Department at the beginning of the year when they had some reorganization. And then our broker, Gibson, after many years of keeping their fees flat, raised their fees, and their contract starts mid-year, which is $1,000 a year. They increased it. So we have a need to transfer money from other services and charges using temporary funds in our personal services line.
Thank you. Any questions for the controller? Thank you, Becky.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in favor of the proposed ordinance? Please come forward. Is there anyone participating remotely who wishes to speak in favor? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Please come forward. And is there anyone participating remotely who wishes to speak in opposition? Are there any council members who wish to speak? If not, then I call for the question.
Question.
Madam Clerk, would you please poll the council?
Mrs. DeMade?
Yes.
Mr. Hazen?
Yes.
Mr. Mamalenti?
Yes.
Mr. Bednicki?
Yes.
Mr. Emmons?
Yes.
Mr. Belovich?
Yes.
Mr. Compton?
Yes.
Mrs. Volker?
Yes.
Mr. Hicksonbaugh?
Yes.
Proposed ordinance passes 9-0.
Privilege of the floor. At this time, members of the public are invited to speak with respect to non-agenda items only under privilege of the floor.
Evening.
Good evening, sir.
My name is James Ruck, W-R-U-C-K. I'm at 16297 Parkwood Court, Granger. Mike and I are both here with the same question. What happened? We were told, we went to a planning commission meeting on Monday or Tuesday, which day it was, with regard to petition 22-21, and we're told that this matter would be taken up by the council and we could speak to it tonight. What happened?
Although normally we don't engage in this type of dialogue, I'll address that question. This is our normal process. Nothing has happened, and I feel bad if you were given bad information about what this evening's proceeding was going to entail.
I'm missing a Packer game. I'm missing a Packer game.
As a Vikings fan, that doesn't break my heart at all. So certainly, I don't know who gave you the advice, and I'm confident that it was not out of any conscious desire to try to cause you to miss the Packers game. But our normal process is for a matter like this, as you heard earlier, there's an initial reading by the clerk. It's really to reflect the fact that we've received the petition. And then it's referred out. It goes through 2 readings in conjunction with state law and our council rules, and then it will be acted upon. So it won't even be our next council meeting at which this will be voted upon. This will be the second meeting in January.
It'll be at the next meeting.
First meeting in January? I stand corrected. This is why I've got good people keeping an eye on me. It'll be the first meeting in January that we'll hear this. So, again, I'm sorry that you were inconvenienced, and I will apologize. Sometimes I don't like to apologize for things other people did that we didn't do, but in this instance, I apologize for any inconvenience for both of you gentlemen. But this, I promise you, nothing happened that's out of the ordinary in terms of our normal process. This is our regular order of business.
I understand, we just want to know when it was going to be brought up.
Yeah. Boy, I should have just answered that question for you, and I would have saved you a couple minutes, and you could go watch the Packers. But it sounds like our first meeting, Madam Clerk, what's the specific date of our first meeting?
The 9th, January.
January 9th, 7 PM, right here in the council chambers.
Go
All right.
Pack, go.
Go Rams.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Just talk to me.
Mr. President, at the Plan Commission, I listened to their concerns, and I addressed to them that it wouldn't be taken up until the council, at the date of the next council meeting on that matter. I didn't know what date it was. I asked them to check with the clerk to find out what day that it would be handled at the second reading and that. So I'm sorry for the confusion and that. But I'm sorry you came tonight. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak under privilege of the floor? Please come forward. Then, is there anyone participating remotely who wishes to speak under privilege of the floor? Thank you. This evening, there is no unfinished business of which I'm aware. New business. As was referenced earlier, once again, we invite members of the public to participate in the special council meeting that has been called to deal with those 3 appropriations-related ordinances on December 27th of this year at 5 PM here in the council chamber. Is there any other new business to come before the council? And hearing none, a motion, I'm sorry.
Date of the next meeting.
Raven Boston, Chief Deputy Clerk. I just wanted to apologize for the publication error. I don't know what happened. I'm still trying to figure that out, but I am sorry that you all have to come out again on my behalf. So I apologize. This will never happen again.
Well, Raven, thank you for saying that. The last time I checked, we're all human, and we all make mistakes. And for all the good work that you do to take care of us on a regular basis, speaking for myself only, but I suspect my colleagues would agree, if the worst that happens is that I have to come back for one more meeting in 2022 and spend time with you and others, that's not a bad day in my mind. But thank you for saying that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Raven.
Is there any other new business to come before the council? Then hearing none, a motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved.
We're adjourned. Thank you, folks.